Thanks for tuning in to As the Tire Turns podcast. Before we dive into this week's episode, I'd like to thank our sponsor, AME International. Tire professionals insist on AME. I'd also like to recognize the AACF. For over 65 years, the Automotive Aftermarket Charitable Foundation has stood by those in the automotive aftermarket industry and their families during life's toughest challenges. Since 1959, with the incredible support of industry partners, AACF has provided vital assistance to individuals and families facing financial hardship due to unforeseen circumstances, such as floods, earthquakes, storms, fires, catastrophic medical conditions, life-changing accidents, devastating fatalities, and more. AACF offers a straightforward application process and a quick turnaround time for those needing support during critical moments. Visit www.aftermarketcharity.org to access the application and learn more about how AACF can assist during times of need. Together, we can make a difference in the lives of our automotive aftermarket family. Support AACF today. And now, As the Tire Turns. We're back with another episode of As the Tire Turns. Today I'm joined by the crew from Stellar Industries, Thomas Griffiths, Tom Fermonic, Travis Glidden, and Dave Zaroslik. Normally I give titles, but I would just say owners, right? Keep it simple.
Right.
And we'll talk a little bit about that later. But when I knew that I was going to have you guys for the podcast, which I appreciate you making time to meet with me, I was reminded, I was talking to somebody internal at my office, and I was talking about somebody at Stellar, and I said, yeah, he's got a funny name. And you're going to laugh because it was Tim Davison, right? And to me, there should be an extra D in there, Tim Davidson.
Yep.
And I'm thinking to myself, nobody would think that that's the funny name, because we used to deal with Dave Switzenberg, yeah, correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tom Fermonic, Zaroslik, which I think at one point in time you told me that area is where there's some settlers from
Czechoslovakia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so big
Bohemian.
Bohemian, that's it, Bohemian.
Yeah.
That's what I couldn't think of.
Yeah.
So anyway, when I was looking at the names and writing it down, which I think I spelled all correctly, I figured it reminded me of that story where Davison was the
funny one.
The funny one to me, because it felt like it should have another consonant in there. So we are here at the floor of the Mon Expo Show 2024. Years of service. Travis, I think we were together. I know we were together last week, but we were. I don't remember. It was you and I were talking where we used to be the young guys in the room.
Right. Right.
And as time has gone on, I suddenly realize I'm almost never the young guy. In fact, now I'm one of the older guys. But with all due respect, I turned 51. We don't have to go over our ages. But this is year 31 for me in the industry. I'm going to guess 3 of you have me beat. I don't know about Thomas, because I think you're the spring chicken here.
23 years full-time in the tire yard.
23, okay.
Started when I was 12. We can't count
the
grandpa's tire shop.
Well, you never know. I mean, you're getting experience.
So
that's true.
I'm pretty close to
part of the industry.
Yeah. So that's it. So Tom?
37 years in the tire industry.
Okay.
38.
Okay. I'm trying to do quick math. I don't know if it's so we got about 60, so that's almost 100. And then Dave?
Oh gosh, that would be probably 38 years.
Okay.
Counting time with IMT and Stellar.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, the funny thing is, Tom and I have worked together for 37 years.
Yep.
And people at Stellar find that out, and a lot of them go, I'm not even that old yet.
Exactly.
So one of the you mentioned IMT, and obviously, right? I worked for Mike Jordan, who would always talk affectionately about Francis Zaroslik, and so he was an IMT distributor, and so I never met your dad, but obviously pioneer of the tire service truck, and he I know started IMT, I believe, in the early 60s. Is that
right?
Is that right?
1961.
For in the mold, right? The M in IMT is is mold, and it was for refurbishing, I think, molds for retreading tires. Is that
Right.
correct?
Something changed with the camelback that they used to put on casings, and everybody had to change their molds. So my grandfather, where Dad worked, was a tire shop. They had a retread shop out in the farm, about a mile south of where Tom lives right now, and Dad saw an opportunity to reach out to other retreaders to retool their molds. And I remember Dad had this huge lathe he brought in. He left his dad's business. We had a Quonset building behind our house in Garner. Dad brought this huge lathe in there, and he started retooling these molds. Always had these big transports come in with all these molds, and Dad would retool them and ship them back out.
Yeah. But then the business evolved, and he moved into trucks.
Well, it had to. Once you retool all the molds, there's not much left to do. So Dad tried something different to start with. He started building golf carts, and he kind of won an award for it, but he found out it was just too much of a niche product, and he really couldn't be successful with that. But while he was doing that, he always thought back to, they had some tire service trucks on the farm. They came out of Kansas City. But they were great big things, and huge tuck under lift gates and everything. Well, Dad thought, there's a lot of small tire dealers that would like to have a tire truck, but just can't afford those great big trucks. So Dad, always looking to see what's going on, he saw this company in Woodbine, Iowa, that came out with a product called the Tommy Gate. And Dad said, well, gosh, that'd be perfect to put on a pickup truck to haul tires in and out of the bed. And about that same time, Dad was looking through a local newspaper, trade publication in Iowa called Wallace's Farmer. It used to be a weekly magazine that every farmer in the state of Iowa would get. And there's an ad in there for a man in Parkersburg, Iowa, that was selling a mounting kit to put an underhood air compressor under the hood of a pickup truck. And Dad thought, wow, I can put an air compressor on a small pickup. I can put a lift gate in the back. I'll just build some toolboxes to put on the side as a tire service truck. And Dad went to the show in Louisville and showed it, and it was a hit.
Yeah.
And from there, it just took off.
Yeah. Unbelievable. And then I think, I don't know about you, Tom, but I know Travis, you started basically in the welding, right?
I started in September of '86 building trucks.
Okay.
And and it was actually for John Collins.
This, of course, is Stellar now, right? So
Right.
I think your dad sold in '85 to.
He sold the company in '85 to Sudbury Corp out of Cleveland area.
Yeah.
And Dad stayed on as president until December of '88.
Yeah.
And then they brought their own president in. So
Yeah.
Dad was, a farm kid. He never knew anything but work. Now he was up without a job, and he was like, 50, in his early 50s. So.
Yeah. We have a saying that I'm in a peer group of other business owners, executives, and we have a chair, and the gentleman who chaired our group, he just passed recently in his early 80s, but he would say that he failed retirement like 3 times, so he's looking for something to do. So I think kind of the same thing happened. Your dad failed retirement and said, got to do something, and then started with 2 other gentlemen, I believe, and co-founded Stellar at that time.
That's right. 1990, co-founded Stellar to be the first U.S. company to design and build a hook lift hoist.
Yeah.
And Dad had a clearance from IMT that was not going to be a issue with his non-compete, so that opened the door for getting back in business again.
Yeah. Okay. And then under the Stellar, and you also I know, born in Hancock County, or
No, well, Clear Lake.
okay,
Just 12 miles down the
Cerro
road.
Gordo, then.
Cerro Gordo County.
My Iowa geography, not too bad.
But Stellar hired the company, or bought the company Tom and I worked for in 1993.
Okay.
And brought us in as Stellar employees. So this is our 31st year.
Okay.
Yep.
So, and
Next week's
hired
31
building
years.
trucks and
Hired building trucks.
learned to weld, and
Yeah, and Tom brought me out of the shop into sales in 1990.
okay. Tom, same thing with you. Started building first, or
Well, what's interesting, I actually started in sales
okay.
right from day one. Wasn't necessarily looking for a job in sales, but got into sales, and the rest is history.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And then Thomas, I know you bring that practical, real world experience. Of course, so this is my passion project for my year as president of the Tire Industry Association, something to kind of memorialize. And everybody that's been in that role said, Keith, it's going to go by so quickly, including Tom, who served as a past president. So I thought maybe I'll record a podcast, interview some people that I've met along the way, and
great idea,
and so on. So it's been fun. We're nearing the end, but Thomas, you come from a background of changing tires, and but then I always say that the OTR guys are kind of the elite of the tire techs, right? You know, and so on, or at least most of them feel that they are, because they're changing the world's largest tires. And then among that, you got your 400 level of TIA certification, right? So even of the OTR techs, you're of the really kind of the cream of the crop.
Yeah, one of the first few trainers out there. Thanks to Travis for vouching for my credentials to help me get into class, you know.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, no, tire busting, it was been in my family. My grandpa had a tire business, and it always skips a generation, so my dad didn't want anything to do with it.
Yeah.
But I loved it from the first day. And as far as OTR techs, I mean, we all love what we do, but for some reason, OTR technicians have a few more tools in their belt.
Sure.
They become more of an operator, if you want to say. We're not operating track hose, but we're operating large cranes. But we also have to get in the yellow iron and be trusted to move it to a safe spot. And so it just builds a lot of trust and a lot of years of service to be around the heavy equipment. And be honest, be left alone, out, nobody looking out after you.
Right.
And doing the safe stuff along the way, taking pride in your customer's truck and your truck, and the tire itself. So
Yeah, I always say the technicians, especially the ones doing road service, are kind of like MacGyver, right? You know, I mean, they have to find a way to get the job done. And we've gone out, maybe you'll appreciate this, maybe not, and sometimes gone out to maybe do a day of filming, and guys say, hey, I'm going to be at this yard most of the day, and we're setting up, unpacking tools, and he's already got the stuff broken down with the truck. I'm like, whoa, hey, hold on. Right? I want to get some pictures of the tools, right? You know, and he's like, man, I got work to do, right? You know, but the tire service truck has certainly evolved, and it's a key part of Stellar's business. I know you mentioned the hook lift earlier, and at some of the construction shows I've watched the demonstrations, just back and forth, you know, loading the
containers.
I was going to say containers, or
Flatbeds. Yep.
Yeah. So that's still a big part of the business as well for you guys. So we're going to talk about a bunch of different things, but Dave, not really picking on you, but can you tell me a little bit about August 14th?
August 14th, that was my dad's birthday.
Yeah.
And last year, the mayor and the city council in Garner declared August 14th Francis Roslick Day for Garner.
Yeah.
So it was kind of a surprise for us last year, and had a little bit of a celebration. This year would have been Dad's 90th birthday.
Wow.
So August 14th this year, we had a big to do planned in the city park with a band and barbecue and everything else. We're going to have trucks from Stellar Industries, from IMT, and from IMT Transport lining around the park, because those are the businesses that Dad founded in Garner. And unfortunately, we had a downpour of rain. So we all hightailed it to the high school, in the high school auditorium. It worked out pretty good, but it's going to be something going on from year to year. So I'm very proud of what the city's done. Very grateful to the city for naming that Francis Roslick Day. It's quite an honor.
I stay one of my trips to Iowa, which, you know, you guys host a lot of the summer TIA classes, and so I walked out. I stayed at the Park Inn, I think, in Mason City. Yep. And there was a simulated bank robbery going on, I think, right, because of the
Dillinger.
Dillinger, right? Yeah, I couldn't remember what Dillinger days or something like that. But that's pretty cool in Garner to have you know, a day really in honor of your dad, of Francis. And so I usually describe Garner as a one-stoplight town, but you've corrected me, and actually it's a one-stoplight county.
Yes,
right? So,
that is correct.
Yeah.
That is correct.
Well, and you know, we're proud of our town, and as you know, Tom and I love showing people around Garner.
Yeah.
Garner's like a square mile. one stoplight in the whole county, and it's just a great community. You walk through the store, and, people know you, and to see the amount of prosperous jobs in a town of 3,000 people is staggering.
Yeah. So 3,000 people, and how many employees now is
Well, we have our headquarters is still in Garner, but we have a factory in Kanawha, Iowa, which is about 22 miles southwest of us. Then we have 2 buildings over in Mason City. That's about 20 miles to the east. We have a factory down in Hastings, Nebraska, and then a small assembly shop out in Pottstown, Pennsylvania. All told, we're over 800 employees today.
800. Yeah, that's amazing.
It really is amazing.
Yeah.
When Dad and his 2 partners started Stellar, Dad said, IMT got too big. I just want to do one product and do it really well, but have maybe 25, 30 employees. That's all I want to have.
Yeah.
Well, we failed Dad in that regard.
Yeah.
That's too funny. So I know part of that is that you, which some people don't know, and when you're taking it around, it's the next county over, but the Surf Ballroom
In Clear Lake.
In Clear Lake, yeah. Clear Lake.
Sonoma County.
Yeah.
So Surf Ballroom, there's a lot of things that happen in this little corner of Iowa, but that's where Buddy Holly, Richie Valens, and Big Bopper played their last concert, February 2nd, 1959. And they crashed into the ground, 7 miles north of town.
Yep.
And the Surf Ballroom still stands today. It probably been torn down to have condos built if that wouldn't have happened there. But it's an amazing piece of music history.
Yeah. And when you walk in, it is kept as like same shape, condition, and the green room, I think they call it in the back, right? They've got
all the autographs.
Artists have signed, and it's kind of a must-do.
We actually have our Christmas party. How many years have we had the Christmas party?
Oh, quite a few years. Yeah.
Yeah. It's really kind of cool. So Garner, go back to Garner. I know you guys are very active in the local community, and I would agree for anyone who hasn't been to visit, right? It's my wife is a fan of the Hallmark movies, and maybe it's because of I don't know. Is it 3rd Street or what's the street that goes to
State Street?
State Street.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yep.
Yeah. So maybe it's State Street, right? It's not Main Street, but it looks like Main Street, USA.
Yep.
So it's and we've been there for a number of different functions and get together, and even in the neighboring communities, right? Especially Travis. You're well known, right? You walk in, you say hello, and so on. So still amazing that there's only a handful of restaurant options, right? You go there's either Pizza Ranch or Hardee's, or there's a couple more.
Yeah.
Or
That's
the gas
about it.
gas station pizza.
Yeah, that's right.
Casey's, right?
Yeah,
Which-
Matt's place and your place. That about rounds it up.
Yeah, that's it. Which
Travis's Deck, where he does great.
well, he does all the grilling.
reverse seared steaks.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. As part of the training, there's an iconic. And I'm not a farm boy, but
Grain elevator.
Okay, I was going to say a grain elevator.
elevator,
Yeah. So and it was restored nice, and I think Stellar just purchased that, and that it has some land adjacent to it, and it's where some of the hands-on training is. T, I think a few years ago, to support the earth mover classes, bought an old haul truck.
Kevin
769.
769.
Yeah, which I know some of your grandkids will sometimes get in the cab. And
They do. The city of Garner, we went and visited with them first to let us have permission to drive the haul truck down a street in Garner to where we do the training at and back. And the 2 oldest grandboys ride with Matt White in the truck, 3-4 blocks. And at the end of one of the barbecue nights, Decker walks up to Matt and goes, "Hey, do you need help taking that truck back to my pa's work?" But we told the city of Garner we'd wait till 6-7 o'clock at night when the streets are pretty quiet, so we can roll down the street and don't have any issues.
I was sorry the last time I was there, which was last month or 2 months ago, I guess, that I missed it, seeing it driving through town. But that's pretty iconic. And then you've hosted some. If you're there late enough, right, you'll have this sweet corn.
Sweet
and some-
corn. Well, and Iowa chops we're known for the Iowa chop.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've gotten, Tom and I always try to pick what looks like the best weather night of the week to have a big Iowa chop barbecue. Tom brings his big trailer in. But you only get sweet corn for a limited period of time,
Right.
you know, late July, August. So now people are wanting to narrow down when they come to Garner to that time frame. I don't care about May and June. I want to be over here
End of
late
July,
July,
first part
August.
of August, yeah.
Exactly. Thanks for listening to As the Tire Turns. Join us next week when we continue our conversation with the crew from Stellar Industries.